I told you last episode, I can't get enough of this boat bombing. Here's more on boats. Hang on for the ride.
Welcome to another episode of Larry's Rants, Raves, and Reviews! Now, it's the moment that you have all been waiting for. Here comes the man, the myth, the legend, my papa! Here's Larry!
Well, President Trump last Wednesday said that he's fine with releasing any video from his administration on any of the U.S. strikes on the, what they call alleged boat in the Caribbean, the alleged drug boat. It's a strike that left 2 survivors dead, and the critics have called the second strike a war crime. Multiple congressional investigations are now underway. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, millions of your tax dollars, millions of we the people's money is going to be wasted because of their disdain and their hatred towards President Trump and America and keeping us safe. They're just going to throw millions of our dollars, our tax dollars, away. You see, they say that, well, they were clinging to the boat and this was a war crime. We should have picked them up and given them due process and all of this. Well, we'll get into that in just a little bit. But in this, the Colombian family filed charges last week against the U.S. airstrikes and on the alleged drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean. And they say that there's an inter-American human watchdog, rights watchdog, and that this 42-year-old fisherman was among over 80 people killed. Now get this. Since September, there's been 21 confirmed airstrikes and over 80 people have been killed. Now I got to tell you folks, that makes me want to jump up and sing God Bless America. We finally have a president and a cabinet who cares about our country, who cares about our people, we the people, and he loves us, and he's trying to keep us safe. 21 confirmed airstrikes. Now, this guy's wife, Carranza's wife or whatever, 4 children insist that he was on a fishing expedition and not carrying drugs when his boat was struck. Oh, I bet he was. I bet he was. Because, you know, our military is so reckless that we just go out and we just bomb anybody. Whoops, it was a fishing boat. I've never been out on the lake thinking, wow, my country's going to fly over and bomb me. But then again, I don't have kegs of drugs that are wrapped so tightly and waterproofed in a great big boat. No fishing rod, no fishing equipment. It's just big kegs of illegal drugs to kill our friends and family, us Americans, we the people. I've got to tell you, folks, if you take a good look at the videos that are out there, and there's plenty of them, go to X, you can see lots of different ones, but they're out there and they're going to show you. You clearly can see these are not fishing boats. These are high-powered drug running boats. In fact, President Trump alluded to the idea that these things are worth so much money. These boats are so high-tech, so powerful, that even our military boats have trouble keeping up with them. That's why we're doing this by airstrike. Oh, and the liberals for years have said, oh, well, let's just run out there and pick them up and we'll put them through due process and we'll run them through court. Yeah, sure, that makes a lot of sense. That's really worked over the years. Liberals drive me crazy. I've just got to tell you. Hegseth is facing scrutiny from the U.S. lawmakers over a follow-up strike on another alleged drug boat days earlier that killed 2 survivors from the first strike. Now, I'm reading a report here that I got off of several different news feeds, and it says he's facing scrutiny from U.S. lawmakers. Well, yes, they're the lawmakers, but they're the law breakers. We've clearly seen that. The Democratic Party, the Communist Party, they break the law on a regular basis. Do you trust your government? Do you trust Congress? Do you really trust your senator? My God, I'd hate to think I was that stupid. I wouldn't trust any of them. Even the Republican Party. I don't say that I'm a Republican. I'm a Reaganite. I'm an independent. I don't even want to affiliate with this pack of rhinos. Now, there's a internal watchdog that's determined that Hegseth engaged in U.S. troops earlier this year when he shared details about military operations in Yemen via a private signal group chat. Now, I covered this on an episode probably a year ago, or close to it, when it happened. If you've ever used Signal, I've got some people that are heavily involved in the computer industry, and they will not text me and communicate with me unless it's over Signal, because it's all encrypted. It's so safe. And guess what? Barack Hussein Obama and his entire cabinet and military people use that same text messaging program. It was on the phones that President Trump's people, his cabinet, inherited. It was there. It was used. So they want to talk about all of this stuff, but folks, this is all nonsense. It's all nonsense. I will tell you that hours were spent behind closed doors with key lawmakers last Thursday. The military said a designated terrorist group operated the boat, transporting illegal narcotics along a known drug trafficking route. Now, in this meeting, the Republicans said that they came out, they saw the footage, and what they saw was a lawful operation. Well, the liberal Democrat communist said it raises new grave questions about whether the U.S. killed men who were no longer a threat. Whether that is no longer a threat or not. I think I said it on the first episode about boats. Hey, Pete, use a bigger bomb next time. Get them the first strike. That way we don't have to use 2. I don't know how many millions those things are, but probably a lot. Well, Senator Tom Cotton, he weighed in. He said, these are narco-terrorists who are trafficking drugs that are destined for the United States to kill thousands of Arkansans and millions of Americans. Folks, we really do have a drug problem here in Arkansas. We've got it across our nation. There's no town, no city, no county, no state that is exempt from this. I drive down the streets of Little Rock, Arkansas, right in the middle of the Bible Belt. And I see these drug addicts, and they're bent over from their waist down, hanging their arms down, and just standing there. And they will stand there, I've seen them 20, 30 minutes and not make a move. You know that they're so high on drugs, it's one of the poses that these drug addicts take. It's pathetic. It's horrendous. It's horrible to see. However, I did not make the choices that put them in that condition. I did not put the pill or the drug down their throat. I did not take the drug and shoot it into their vein. This was by their choice. But no matter how they got there, we now have a president and a military that is willing to take some of these drugs off the street. I really would like to do some research, and probably will, and I'll come back and tell you. I wonder how many millions of dollars one of these boats full of these drugs are really, really worth. Now, in this closed meeting, some of the top Democrats who saw the same video described it as deeply troubling and said it needs to be released to the public. I think it has. Go ahead and release it, because I got to tell you, again, I salute President Trump and our military for taking good care of we the people. One liberal Democrat from Connecticut said, "What I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. You have two individuals in clear distress without any means of locomotion, with a destroyed vessel, were killed by the United States." Oh, doesn't that just grip your heart? They were clinging to the boat. What about when those drugs hit our streets and these addicts are crawling their last few steps just to obtain one more high, just to obtain one more fix? They'll do anything for that. This congressman, Jim Himes, Democrat from Connecticut, Mister, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You care nothing about we the people. Your disdain for America and your disdain for President Trump repulses me. You say, "Larry, wow, you've kind of gotten a little harsh on some of these episodes." You know what? I've kind of laid back my first, 80 episodes or so. I'm going to say what I want, when I want, how I want. If you don't like it, stay off my channel. If you do, pass the word around. Hey, there's a pawpaw in Arkansas. He'll say whatever he wants. Tell people about us. These narco-terrorists, again, I take you back and say, the campaign has involved 22 strikes with more than 87 people killed, including last Thursday's operation. Now, Congress is demanding answers. What were the rules of engagement? Who gave the orders? And were the survivors ever a legitimate target? Several Democrats are calling for Hegseth to testify and a full video to be released, and the Pentagon to provide the legal rationale behind the mission. Now, their request so far has been denied and ignored by President Trump. Well, President Trump, here's what I'd have to say. I'm going to quote my dear Aunt Vera from Dothan, Alabama. She had this favorite saying, and it was this: "Up your butt with a wire brush." And I love that statement. I would tell Congress and the Pentagon, anybody that wanted to rake you over the coals, or Pete over the coals, tell them up your butt with a wire brush. Feel free to use it. Aunt Vera would be proud of you. I would tell them we don't have time to play games. We have a country to salvage from the jaws of communism. That's what I'd say. Well, folks, you may get another one of these. More boats, more boat bombings. because it's really got me kind of worked up. I hope that you'll tell your friends and your family about Larry's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. Tell them they can find us on all of the podcast platforms. Video is on Rumble, X, YouTube, Spotify. If you don't want to watch me, go ahead and get on one of those video channels. If you want to listen, hop on any of the podcasts. Send me some notes. Send me an email. Like our information. And I hope you will have a wonderful day.